Welcome to another episode of the Zebra Influencer Series. I'm your host, Scott Reyes, the Senior Manager for North America Alliances and ISVs at Zebra Technologies. I have the distinct honor of working with alliance partners and software partners alike in helping them walk through our Zebra ecosystem. Today, we'll be speaking with Ted Chen, who is the CEO and co-founder of LifeSaver Mobile. Ted comes to us with a vast experience in sales, marketing, channel development, at LifeSaver Mobile, but he also has over 2 decades of experience in building strategic partnerships at companies like Yahoo, AOL Netscape, and You Send It. So let's bring Ted onto the show. Hey, Ted, welcome.
Hey, Scott. Great to see you again. Glad to be here.
Same here, Ted. It's great to see you again. Hey, so Ted, let's talk a little bit about LifeSaver Mobile. Maybe you can give the audience a little bit of a background on you, and then we can jump into the company. Tell us a little bit more about you, maybe something that the audience doesn't know about Ted.
Thanks again for having us. Scott, I'm originally from the East Coast. Went to school and college and grad school in Philadelphia, and began my professional career in New York City. And then when the internet was first kind of starting out, decided that I needed to be part of that whole technology cradle out here in Silicon Valley, and moved out here to be part of that whole scene. And I've been here ever since.
That's excellent, Ted. So being in Silicon Valley, I'm sure you have a lot of experience with software development, entrepreneurship. And tell us a little bit more about how you got into LifeSaver Mobile and how that started.
My whole career out here in Silicon Valley has primarily been in technology partnerships, working with companies to establish relationships that advance the overall distribution or strategic opportunities for those companies. And so it's, as you said earlier, started off with some larger companies, and then kind of moved downstream, actually, to smaller companies with the ability to make more impact on smaller environments. And then along the way, I decided, it might be really cool to try this on something of my own idea. So me and my co-founder started up our company about 10 years ago, and that's the start to how we began our journey.
Well, that's awesome, right? Everybody's got to start their own journey at some point. So now you guys are in LifeSaver Mobile, right? Obviously, you're still in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area. And thanks for hosting me the other day. So tell us a little bit more about what LifeSaver Mobile actually does. What's the business application that you guys are solving today?
Yeah, so the primary value proposition for LifeSaver Mobile, it's a software only platform, so there's no hardware component, which is a really unique aspect to our solution. And what we're doing is we're bringing a new approach to not only fleet driver or commercial driver safety, but alongside of that, we are also providing some really unique and I think a new window for fleets and fleet operators into fleet intelligence, how their drivers are doing, where they're going, that type of thing. It's become a really popular solution for folks that are trying to improve their commercial driver safety.
So thinking about commercial driver safety, well, even before we go there, how does that work? Is it a device that's on the truck? It's just on the app? Like, tell the audience a little bit more of how the solution actually works.
Absolutely. So, traditionally, fleet intelligence was provided through a device that would attach itself to the vehicle, whether it's a telematics device, a fleet camera, some sort of other hardware component. And what we're doing is a little bit different, in a sort of a new approach to fleet intelligence, in that we attach our solution directly to the other device that's already in the vehicle, and that is the mobile device, whether it's a smartphone or tablet carried by the driver. That's sort of a much lighter way of getting fleet intelligence into the hands of the fleet operator, and especially when there's already a corporate issued mobile device like a Zebra rugged device, then it's easy to attach ourselves to that and basically make that the conduit for transparent fleet intelligence.
So what I'm hearing is that it's a lightweight application that's sitting on a Zebra mobile computer, or any kind of mobile computer that's sitting inside of the cab or on with the driver. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with Zebra. What are some of the integrations that you guys have with us as a ISV collaborator within our ecosystem?
So obviously we're cross-platform, but we love our Zebra partnership. We've obviously optimized with Zebra devices as well. So we have I believe the TC77, the TC26, the EB55, and probably some others that I'm forgetting. But we're optimized on all those devices, of course, validated and optimized. And then beyond that, we are always looking for ways to help our end customers, those fleet operators, give a better user experience and an easier way to manage their drivers. And so one of the things we've done with Zebra is to optimize the deployment of our application onto those devices, obviously through mobile device management systems, but then also to be able to leverage the firmware of Zebra to make it a no-touch deployment, so that the driver really doesn't have to do anything, and it just lands on the device and it's ready to go.
Great. So I know that we've had this conversation in the past in our partnerships and talking to other partners, but like help the audience understand, are you guys an MDM? Are you working with other telematic solutions? Like, how does LifeSaver fit into that world? I know you said today you're working with some MDMs, but are there ones that you work with more than another? Help us understand the ecosystem that you guys are working in.
Yeah, another great question. So yeah, we obviously have a lot of attention now from fleet operators because it's such a huge pain point. Commercial driver safety is just a huge pain point. If you've read anything in the news about sort of fleet insurance and claims and commercial auto insurance, it's a really tough environment right now. And so any fleet operator will tell you that they have real challenges in finding affordable ways to insure their fleet. Alongside that, we work with a lot of companies, a lot of partners, channel partners, to get our message out to those end user fleet operators. And as you just alluded to, two of the biggest channels that we have embraced and have embraced us back are fleet telematics and MDM. And I'll just go briefly into both of those so you kind of the audience can appreciate why those are such important channels for us. So on the telematics side, obviously, it's a pretty mature market of fleet telematics providers. I would say most fleet operators have telematics, and so they're looking for that to take the next step in fleet safety. And so our phone compliance software is just a natural next step to fleet safety, and so they've embraced us as an upsell opportunity, and we certainly love to be part of that channel. So telematics is a really great channel for us. And then secondly, on the MDM side, mobile device management, we look at those guys as another great reciprocal relationship where companies that have MDM, of course, are primarily going to be using those MDM systems to manage corporate issued mobile devices or laptops. And so as part of that, that's a great leading indicator for us that this company has corporate issued devices. Now they may not have transportation risk, which is okay, but at the end of the day, it is one great leading indicator for us that they have a lot. They may have a lot of accounts that will fit our ideal customer profile as well. So just long story short, telematics and MDM are great channels for us, and I think they look at us as a great upsell opportunity.
Great. Well, thanks for answering that, Ted. One of the things that comes to mind is, as you were mentioning, really is fleet safety. And maybe some of us don't really understand what that really means. And how does that impact, from a dollar perspective, operational perspective, our customers? Can you dive into that a little bit and help us understand financial impact and operational impact on fleet safety?
Absolutely. So fleet safety, as I said, is one of the top 2 or 3 pain points for fleet operators these days. It impacts in a lot of different ways, and I'll list the ones that are direct costs, and then there's all these downstream costs as well. For instance, on the direct side, obviously there's physical damage. There's to your own vehicle. There's third-party liability if there's another vehicle involved. There's rising insurance costs. If you do use traditional insurance, you're going to get dinged with rising premiums. If you don't use traditional insurance, then obviously you're paying out of pocket. So there's all these direct costs related to the damage associated with the collision. If you've read anything on the recent, sort of road safety trends during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, unfortunately, everything is up and to the right, which means things are getting worse. I think some people, there's a lot of different theories about that, but I would say that a lot of people think that people just have forgotten how to drive and have gotten worse at driving as a result of the pandemic. But whatever the case may be, the trends are not good, and that's across all drivers, not just commercial drivers, but also consumers as well. So that's a little bit about the pain point. And below the line, if you think about indirect costs, well, there's a lot of those as well, right? I mean, think about loss of productivity because the employee might be injured. Loss of productivity from the vehicle being offline and having to be repaired. Brand reputation, a loss. There's so many different downstream effects from one of your fleet vehicles, and unfortunately, the stats are actually astounding. They're saying that, and this is a stat that has been out there for several years now. I would guess to say that it's actually worse coming out of the pandemic, as I said, with those trends. But the commercial fleet statistic that's kind of really surprising to me is they're saying that 20% of all your vehicles in a commercial fleet, will have an accident in the next year or in a 12-month period, which seems like a really high number, but it's been published over and over again. So I think there's some credibility to that number.
Yeah, Ted. So driving up from Miami late yesterday, I can attest that there are some people who forgot how to drive. I think from a transportation perspective, I've been on the road and I've seen some drivers, touch their device, try to navigate or do different phone calls, and swerve and sway in between lanes, which is really a hazard, not only to them, but to the public. But with those stats of a 20% increase, that's enormous operational challenges and money coming out of the organizations. How does LifeSaver help in removing some of these challenges, or like I said in this example, where someone's trying to use their device while driving?
Yeah, another great question. So our system, again, software only. The app does all the heavy lifting. So it's forcing the commercial driver, to learn a new behavior, and that behavior is hands-free. Now, it could be zero tolerance too, if you want it to be. I mean, it's a highly configurable system, but at the end of the day, what it's designed to do is really just force that new hands-free behavior, because that's the legal threshold across the 50 states, is hands-free. And so, that answers the age-old question that most companies have, which is, great, you have this strong cell phone use policy. What are you doing to enforce it? And the answer is not much, because there hasn't been an easy way to do that until now. So what our system does, just to answer it very directly, is it takes away screen use. It restricts access to the screen while driving. Navigation is the one allowable exception out of the box. If a company wanted to allow their drivers to use another, application as an exception to the rule of the screen block rule, it's easy to configure that. But at the end of the day, obviously we don't recommend it, but they can do that because it's their policy. And then the other piece to distracted driving is that now we finally have a way for employers to enforce hands-free calling, or zero tolerance if you want to, right? So again, configurable by the employer. So you can say, hey, you know what? I only want hands-free Bluetooth calls to be made, either Bluetooth over the air or Bluetooth plugged into your CarPlay or Android Auto. And that will only allow those calls to occur, or will report the ones that are non-compliant. So that's another way to enforce this distracted driving compliance. And then finally, we actually have a pretty cool twist on the second leading cause of crashes, which is speeding. And as I said earlier, most fleet operators have telematics, so they do probably have a way to report and track the speeding events. But what we've done is, and again, we've done this very openly and transparently with our telematics providers, and they actually have embraced this as well. And that is the ability to bring a verbal notification to the driver in real time through the mobile device, so that it's telling the driver, with whatever customized message you choose, whether it's typed into the portal or you can record an audio file or upload an audio file, whatever that verbal notification is, it can be read to the user immediately when those speed thresholds are crossed. And that's we think is a much more deterrent way of getting that driver to think twice before they continue to speed. We like to say that it's short of having a speed governor in the vehicle, it's the next best thing. And so those are the two things. We tackle the two biggest risk factors for commercial driver safety, which are distracted driving, phone distraction, and speeding. And we do it all in this simple system that is all software based and pushed to the device at scale.
Excellent. Well, thank you for answering that, Ted. I mean, my next question, and I guess it's a little deeper than I'm thinking, as you're explaining the application and how it sits on the trucks, and I'm thinking transportation. But when we think of transportation, is it only over the road transportation, or is it construction? Like, who are your customers, or the customers that would use a LifeSaver mobile app?
Yeah, we actually over here at LifeSaver Mobile, we've defined some segments of the word fleet, because if you're not sort of in the fleet ecosystem, you would normally just, your mind would gravitate naturally to an 18-wheeler, which actually most people would refer to as over the road or long haul. And that's actually a one segment of the fleet ecosystem that we've defined, but it's just one of 6 segments that we've actually defined. We actually see a lot of activity in some of the other segments and then I'll just kind of list them for you, and it'll give our audience a better appreciation for the types of fleets that we work with. So work truck is a segment that we find ourselves heavily in. That's all the HVAC, construction, plumbing, pest control, landscaping, all those types of commercial fleets are our bread and butter. And then last mile, which as you know from our partnership, is a category that we've done a lot of work in. In fact, let me just back up. Work truck has definitely stayed very relevant throughout the pandemic, because many of those services were considered essential services during the pandemic. In last mile, I would say last mile actually benefited from the pandemic, and it just blew up. Everyone got used to. I mean, what was the stat? They said that e-commerce accelerated by 5 percentage points in the first month of the pandemic, and it was and that would have taken naturally like a 3-year period to do that. So all that 3-year growth happened in 1 month. And so we're seeing the benefit. I mean, obviously, last mile is seeing the benefit of that, and then we are also seeing the benefit of that. So there's a lot more miles driven in the last mile delivery category, which is like food service and package delivery and beverage delivery, those types of things. And then another segment that we find ourselves in quite a bit is field sales. The folks that are out there representing the company, whether it be in a sales role or a merchandising role or some sort of service role, those guys and gals are definitely considered fleets. Whether or not they're driving a company car, I should probably just clarify that fleets can be company cars or they can be personal cars that are being reimbursed. They're all considered fleets. Another two other categories, the three other categories are gig fleets. So obviously, anyone who's a DoorDash driver or Uber driver, is considered a fleet. The government fleets are a big category, so utility fleets, that type of thing. And then finally, we talked about over-the-road long-haul fleets. So the world of fleet is very diverse, and there's a lot of opportunity there, but also a lot of risk on the roads today. So pretty much all those, I would say there isn't a segment of fleet that isn't looking to improve their fleet safety today.
Right. So those 6 categories are really large if you think about the overall potential there. So Ted, I know you go to business very similar to the way Zebra goes to business, is via our channel partners. And some of the audience who's probably listening in right now are our channel partners. If one of our channel partners wanted to get in touch with LifeSaver Mobile, how would they go about doing that? Or our customers in that sense?
Yeah, thanks for asking. You should go to our website, lifesavermobile.com, or give us a call at 1-833-DON'T-TEXT without the E on the in the last word. But that's 2 easy, memorable ways to reach us. Once again, you can always reach out to me, and I'm sure Scott could put us in touch with each other.
I like that. I like those options, Ted. Thank you for sharing that. So as we're coming to the end of the conversation here, Ted, is there anything you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I obviously, number one, thank you, Scott, for your friendship and your partnership. It's been great to work with you throughout the entire couple of years that we've been together. And then I just want to say we've been honored as a company, LifeSaver Mobile, to be part of the Zebra ecosystem, and we're seeing a lot of low-hanging fruit for fleet operators in your world, whether it's direct or indirect, that really should be thinking about fleet safety and probably don't realize that this is a really easy solution to deploy and to get implemented at scale. And we hope that 2023 is an opportunity for us to work together with you and your channel partners to get more of that word out to the end customer.
Ted, thank you for that. And to your point, in 2023, as we've been doing in 2022, we're focused on outcome-driven solutions. And we're looking at what's changing the operation, what's important to our customers and our channel partners. And a solution like yours really hits it right on the nail, where you're helping modify what's happening at the customer's operation, what's important to them and to their employees, which is safety over the road, no matter which 6 segments they may be in. So Ted, on behalf of Zebra Technologies, I want to thank you for coming on the show, comparting your knowledge with us and the audience. And to the audience, thank you for staying on and for listening in. And as always, if there are any other comments, give us a like. Let us know what you'd like to see in the comment section. And we'll see you next time.